for answers for how and why we didn't do what we wanted tonight. I say this to our fans, how much you deserve us to not have this ending. I certainly, in no way, have spent any of my time over the last 3 hours asking how and why. What I'm zeroed in on is the fact that I thought we were in a position, everybody in this room thought we were in a position to advance this thing in the playoffs and maybe get as far as our dreams might take.
Anyone?
Mike, you have a year left on your contract.
On the Lions. Kelsey watching, who knows what his future is. Here's Gainwell, and that will do it.
Well, that looks like a man filled with emotion right now.
Welcome back to Outcoach Sports. Mr. Mclain is here with his Baker Mayfield jersey and the cheesehead.
I'll answer your questions in a moment because you probably got some. Why am I wearing two different? It'll get there. Just hold yourself. Hold up.
It'll get there.
Hold up on that car wash.
So, what I want to say, thank you for all of the likes on Instagram. I have a new handle. It is Angry Bitter Carl because I got a lot to bitch about over the past, let's say, month.
We've been off for a minute. Let me fill you in.
Go ahead, please.
We've been off. Well, we made a new video, right? What was it, 2.5 weeks ago?
At least.
Okay, so it was right after Christmas we made a video. I went on vacation for a week. I went home for a wedding. I came back. I had my wisdom teeth pulled. I got bit by a dog. So we've been going through it. So I went home for a wedding, had my wisdom teeth, had a surgery, had this, got my tetanus shot, but we are back. We did have a video right after Christmas, but it got reported. We think a certain someone, real big, kind of looks like a fat chipmunk, Jason Dicklock. We think you're watching this, motherfucker. We think he reported us. We got taken down for false information, which I don't know how that's possible because it's a sports
channel.
How do you take us down, especially when there are things that are way worse on the internet? But not the point. We are back. That's where we've been. And that's where we're at.
I also had some issues.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because one, I was in a bad car accident. I'm not going to go into details with it. My car got totaled and all that. And it's pending litigation. I'll leave it at that.
Did you call Dan Newland?
I didn't call Dan Newland.
Oh!
I got a Jewish lawyer. So anyway, literally, he's from New York. He's a Jew. Okay?
Like the Florida Joker, my Jewish lawyer is on the way.
So that has been taken care of. Then I got some damn flu, cold, whatever the fuck it was. It was almost like, I'm not even going to say the word because they're probably trying to block me from saying the C word up here. And I'm telling you, man, I could not get rid of that goddamn cough. I felt like it was fluid in my lungs. It was almost like pneumonia or whatever. I'm fine now, but man, for a couple of days there, I was like, dude, I might have to go to the emergency room or something with this crap. So it's a lot going on. So I decided to change my handles on Instagram.
Because we're pissed.
Because I am very angry. I'm always bitter. And my name is Carl, so ABC, Angry Bitter Carl. So
that flows really well.
Yeah.
We still love you over here, though, Carl.
Well, hey, I love...
Here at this Outcoach Sports, we're still here.
So Outcoach Sports is also on TikTok now. I finally set up the TikTok.
We're on the TikTok?
We're on the TikTok. So he had a little bit of whiskey. He's enjoying himself and so forth.
The whiskey! Jim Beam what?
And, his teams had taken care of business.
2 for 2. Great day yesterday. Lakers won, beat the Thunder. Magic won, beat the Knicks. Buccaneers won, beat the Eagles. And then on Sunday, the Packers Submitted the Cowboys.
And here's the thing, man, and I'm going to finish with the plug here, and then we'll go ahead and get into all of this. So, Outcoach Sports is on there, and, my handle is on there. I already told you. TikTok, Instagram. Go ahead and follow. One of the videos on the Buccaneers has 10 million views. Thank you. We got almost like 3,000 followers, and it's growing. Y'all showing a lot of love. Some of the stupid comments, I'm deleting and blocking y'all bastards off of there because you don't make no damn sense anyway, so you don't need to be on the internet. So I get rid of those type of comments. But if it's something negative but critical, like you're a critical thinker, I'll leave it up there because, I don't run a dictatorship, but it is our handle here. We're not going to be trash because of you punks out there that ain't got nothing better to do.
Other than say, you're stupid because whatever you made up. But we appreciate the love, all the hard work we've been putting in. Mostly this guy is finally starting to show up, and we thank you. Yeah, and we just need y'all to start liking and subscribing and all that to YouTube. And, we're going to put out more content. So the holidays are done and all of that. Yeah, settling back in. I'm transferring over to a new position at work, so I have more time on my hands. Mm-hmm. So let's get on to the playoffs. I mean, we're just going to start off with the top. The Packers smoked America's team. And what do you like to say about that? Fuck Dallas! And I'm going to tell you, I made a joking text to the guys because Cliff is in the background here. I put up there 34-0. I put that as a question mark. As a joke, yeah. And I literally thought it was going to be 34-0 at halftime or whatever. And I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about Dallas over the past 30 years. You guys have never seen them win. You've never seen them win a Super Bowl. I don't know what it is about Dallas, especially Green Bay and Dallas. In my lifetime, I've been very fortunate. In the playoffs, I could be wrong, but I don't think Dallas ever beaten Green Bay in the playoffs since I've been alive. I was born in 98. I'm 25 years old. They never did. They've never beaten them. Yeah. And there's just something about Dallas. Now they kind of got, and again, Jerry puts a lot of pressure on them. We've talked about that before. Now they kind of got that Detroit feeling behind them, especially when they get to the playoffs. They didn't have the greatest regular season in the world, which this year they had a really great regular season. Dak was the best quarterback in football, stat-wise, and he looks the part. But come the playoffs, just something, I don't know what happened. I mean, there were guys, I remember Musgrave was wide open. That ball was lofted. He had 10 yards just to stand there and then look around and be like, oh, there's nobody here. I'll run for a touch. I don't understand what happened. It was like a completely different team. And it was, I don't know. I don't have any answers. It was awful. But it wasn't awful for me. It was awful for Dallas. I loved it. Because fuck Dallas and go Pack go. I made my promise here with the cheesehead. Absolutely. That's why I wanted to bring that up first. Here's the thing. I remember Dallas winning the Super Bowls in their first run with Tom Landry. Yes, I'm that old. And Staubach. I remember when he retired in 1979 and so forth. But here's the thing. When they had the Jimmy Johnson era, that was their time. That was their Belichick. They should have just kept it moving. Jerry Jones wanted all of the credit. Dude, you own the team. You didn't do anything. You're not the players yet. I mean, I understand that you want to be the GM and all of this other stuff. Look, if that's what you wanted to do and you and the coach are talking or whatever, fine. You and Jimmy Johnson should have stayed together. You probably would have had 3 more rings off of him. There was no reason why that you had to get rid of Jimmy Johnson. Hell, the team won the year after you fired him. That's how good the team was. Yeah. And this was before he was born and before he was born. And it was the Aikman, Smith, and Irving era. Yes. I mean, the triplets. That's what y'all called them back in the day and so forth. Larry Allen, John Giesick, Mark Tuinei. You had that offensive line that was almost like the Hogs because that's who you designed them after, because Washington used to have one of the best offensive lines for like 10, 12 years under Joe Gibbs before he retired. So it is your fault, Jerry. It is your fault, media, because I think you guys just hyped them up way too much. Every year. Way too much. And I mean, it's like they sign this guy, they draft this guy, they do whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks like a Super Bowl team to me.
until you get out of the first round, until you get to a championship game, they're not a Super Bowl contender. They're never going to be a Super Bowl contender under this regime.
No, I mean, look, this year they had a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense.
Mm-hmm.
If you couldn't get it done this year, you need to switch it up. First off, Jones needs to get Vince McMahon on the phone and be like, yeah, I need you to call McCarthy. McCarthy's has been mid for like 15 years. I had to watch that fat fuck coaching Green Bay for far too long. You need to get him on the phone and go, you're fired! Which needs that.
That's actually pretty good.
He is fired. But there needs to be changes made somewhere because when the team is that good in the regular season and then just collapses to a team that's the youngest team in the NFL,
right?
I mean, it wasn't like, oh, they lost. No, they got. It was awful. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. They couldn't do anything. It was, and you need to remember that Packers defense was the same Packers defense that gave up a perfect passer rating to Baker Mayfield on a week before Christmas.
Yeah,
that defense shut down. Something's not right.
All right, so let's talk about America's team, the moniker. Should Dallas actually be America's team?
Dallas has not been America's team since the 90s, be honest. Nobody wants to watch Cowboys go 8-8 every year.
There was a discussion even back in the 80s, like, are they really America's team when you got San Francisco and Washington winning all of the damn Super Bowls? So, with all that being said, it seems to me the two teams that travel well, fan-wise, is Kansas City and Green Bay.
Kansas City does move well. Yeah.
So should one of them be America's team at this point?
It'll never change, though. It will always be Dallas. The media will always ride Dallas with the double hands.
Right.
Always, because it's just the way it's been. And it's the way it's going to be for the next 30 years.
So what about the Buccaneers then?
Okay, so first off, let me get this out of the way. The reason I'm wearing this is because I said when the Packers made the playoffs, I would wear this. We weren't around when we didn't do a show after they made the playoffs. But now after a victory, I still had to follow through and wear this. So that's that. And 2, I'm wearing this because I told everybody on this podcast 10 months ago when they signed Baker Mayfield, everybody predicted them to be the second worst team in the league. Pay this man. Regardless of the outcome on Sunday against Detroit, better than everybody expected. A playoff team that was $80 million in dead space that they couldn't use to make the playoffs and win a playoff game. Huge revival. That's why I'm wearing this. And then my thoughts on since we're talking about it, the Bucs game. Fuck the Eagles. Screw them too. The NFC least is back. The media has been talking up Jalen Hurts now for the past 2 years because he made a Super Bowl run last year.
Right. I mean, we said this a month and a half ago. I think everybody figured out the Eagles.
Exactly, and we saw it. I mean, even the Tush Bush got that eye last night.
Yeah, with the MVP, Jason Kelce. Does that sound familiar?
Kelce retired, by the way.
Yes, after a 13-year career, he called it quits.
Congratulations to him. Mad respect for Kelce. I don't respect a lot of people on the Eagles. I respect him.
Yeah.
I don't respect Sirianni, his gum-chewing ass.
Now, I'm wondering, all right.
Changes. Philly is going to look a lot different because you got Brandon Graham. He can still play. You got Fletcher Cox. He can still play. You got those two guys. Where are they going to be? Lane Johnson. He's an 11-year vet. It's going to look different in Philly. Even if the coaching changes are not made, it's going to look different. But I think the one thing you saw this year was, like you said, they figured out the Eagles, but 2, Shane Steichen left for Indianapolis, and you saw that on the offensive side of the football.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And, of course, they lost 2 coordinators because they lost Gannon to the Cardinals and the other one, who was that? I'm trying to think. He went to the Colts, right?
Shane Steichen.
Yeah. All right. So, because I forgot his name or whatever. But anyhow, with all of that happening, is Sirianni going to be out of a job?
Like we've talked about in the NBA and the NFL, when anything goes wrong with the team, who's the first to go? The head coach. Example, Washington, Rivera's out.
Well, we saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah, we knew that already. But the first guy to go, I think, is Sirianni gone? I don't think so. But if you know the coach, the owner of the Eagles, we know he's had a quick trigger. He had a quick trigger. Yeah. He had a quick trigger with Chip Kelly. He had a quick trigger with Doug Peterson. So who knows?
Exactly.
But either way, that team is going to look a lot different.
Is McCarthy going to be gone?
Oh, McCarthy's out of there. There's no question.
Is Belichick going to
fired!
He's fired. All right, so is Belichick going to replace him?
I don't know. I don't know if Belichick's going to work in Dallas.
It seems like Atlanta wants him.
He wants it. Well, he interviewed in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He wants, to build his team in his control, and if Jerry's not willing to give that to him, who knows?
Well, he kind of stepped aside a little bit for Parcells. I mean, and obviously Belichick is technically better than Parcells, so I can see him doing
for sure. Yeah, and they need to mix something up, and that would make a splash, especially in Dallas, because I didn't like the McCarthy hire when they hired him. I didn't like McCarthy when he was in Green Bay.
He should have been fired last year. So.
He sucks.
All right, so let's go to another playoff. See, I didn't say blow at the same time. You was waiting on that, right?
Okay, so we've got Miami and Kansas City. Look, Miami fans, everybody was high on Miami all freaking year, and we were low on Kansas City all year. But if you look about it, look at that game. They both win with identical records of 11-6.
Right.
The Dolphins shit the bed when they didn't close out the AFC East against Buffalo because they knew that your quarterback, Tua Tug on my lug nuts, had to go on the road in Kansas City. He's never played cold weather in his life.
Right.
The Dolphins are 0-11 in games under 40 degrees.
I know.
And going on the road was almost impossible for them. And they got blown out of the water. And now here we are again, Kansas City and Buffalo. Buffalo took care of business against Pittsburgh. We all saw that coming.
Now, let me make a criticism right now. And I'm going to call out one of our contributors on air right now. Jackie, you sucked. I mean, that was awful what you picked over the last week. I was like, what the fuck was that? I mean, I think you only had one win. Girl, you was smoking the whole year. And then
look at it. No one's going to pick Green Bay.
I mean, come on now. You follow Jerry Jones or something? I mean, you save it for the playoffs to fuck up, huh? So, I still love you, Jackie. But you fucked up this week. So.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
So Buffalo took care of business. Now, again, after everything we talked about through 18 weeks of the season, look where we're at in the divisional round. Who's still left standing?
Yeah.
The Dolphins. Not the Dolphins.
Not the Dolphins.
But Kansas City and Buffalo. The same two teams that have been at now for 4 or 5 years. Here we are.
Now, everybody and their mother, I believe that was the one game Jackie actually got right, was the Buffalo-Pittsburgh
Nobody
game.
questioned that game, yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest, had Buffalo lost that game, I think McDermott should have been fired on the spot.
Oh, instantly. No question.
That game saved his job. And, Tomlin might be out. Who knows? I don't know that for sure, but it seems like either he's going to resign or they may say, we'll reassign you to a front office position or something like that. So
Pete Carroll.
You think so? Wow.
That's what happened to Pete Carroll. He's in the front office.
Oh, you talking about that? I thought you was talking about replacing Tomlin with Carroll.
New.
But, yeah, so let's talk about that Buffalo game. So, basically, it was just
There's not much to say. We knew the outcome of that game was going to happen, and that's what happened. Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback.
So. Again, I've said this multiple times on this podcast. How good Justin Herbert would have looked at a Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God.
They will be the Super Bowl favorites right now.
Oh, yes, without question. And we were right. We said the AFC North would be the most competitive division in football. We were right.
Yeah. What the hell happened to the Cleveland Browns against Houston? I mean, I thought that was going to be like, even though they didn't have Watson, he's injured and all of that.
Joe Flacco was like, here, you want to pick. Yeah. You want to pick. Well, you want an interception.
Exactly.
You want an interception. I think it was a great, resurrection story for Joe Flacco, but people are going to look at it with rose-tinted glasses. Joe Flacco was never that good of a quarterback.
No,
let's be honest.
But he put it like this. He's very streaky. Him and Trent Dilfer were similar to me in their runs. And ironically, didn't both of them do it in Baltimore?
Yep, both won a Super Bowl in Baltimore. Yep.
Yeah, because they both had similar careers to me. They got hot at the right time, won at the right time, done. Now, I'm thinking the AFC is going to be looking pretty good for several years. Down the line.
Yeah.
Because
especially with Jacksonville kind of fell apart at the end of the year. I still think Jacksonville's a good ball club. They're going to come back stronger.
I mean, you think about Stroud, you think about Burrow, you think about all these young guys.
Mahomes, Allen, Lawrence, Jackson. We talked about before the year. It's deep, and it's still deep.
Is this Buffalo's year to finally break through?
No.
KC takes him?
KC takes him, but KC gets their asses handed to him by Baltimore. Baltimore is...
So Baltimore, let's just go...
Baltimore is another level. Look, Baltimore's beating Houston. Houston's been a great story, great run by C.J. Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
Resurrection is... Well, resurrected is the right word, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Revitalizing, that's the word. Revitalizing a franchise down there in Houston. He's not beating Baltimore. It's not happening. But if Baltimore is going to the Super Bowl on the AFC side, just like in the NFC... if you're okay to transfer to the now this week's games. Okay, so Baltimore wins, Kansas City wins. Well, actually, again, Buffalo's got that stigmatism behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But would I be shocked if they won? No.
Right.
Because Kansas City's vulnerable this year.
And KC is going up there to Buffalo, right? Or is it the... Yeah. So.
Yeah, which is Patrick Mahomes' first... road game in the playoffs as a quarterback, so that could make a difference.
Yeah, that could make a huge difference.
And then Detroit-Tampa could be a hell of a game. They met in Week 6, but Tampa's is hot right now, and Detroit is a good ball club, but they're not as good as they were in Week 6.
I'm going to take Tampa.
I'm taking Tampa too, obviously. Just like the Packers and the Lions in Week 6 the Lions were way better. Right now, I don't think the Lions are better than the Packers.
No.
Do I think the Packers win? No, I don't. I would love to see it because it'd be a great story, and that team's got nothing to lose to go out there and give it everything they have.
Mm-hmm.
You're young. What do you have to lose by going and giving it hell? But that team is just
the only thing that they will benefit from if they, I don't know, is Purdy really that guy?
Purdy's not that guy. He's in a system.
So
he's in a really effective system. I said this before. He's in a very effective system. Now it's time to
expose that, And how do they expose it? You got to throw his rhythm off, and I think they have enough pieces to do that.
I still don't think they got it.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they're going to win, but that's the way.
Yeah, it is the way. Yeah, but if they could win, I don't think they win. I think it's San Francisco, and it's my boys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in the NFC title game. I think it's the Niners and the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Now, granted, next week when I sit down and we see who the winners are, even if San Fran did win and Baltimore did win, but they barely won and somebody blew somebody, maybe my answer could change.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you're looking at it, the number one seeds are number one seeds for a reason.
And I don't disagree with you at all. But it's going to be fun.
Yeah, great playoff games.
Finally going to have some good games, man. And Dallas, fuck Dallas.
Fuck Dallas. Woo!
We're going to get into basketball and other stuff in the next segment. So
take a quick break. We will be right back. We're going to bring in. He ain't even listening over there. He's sitting over there. Cliff is sitting over there. We're going to bring him in. Do a quick do a quick segment on that. I'm not prepared. Like I said, I've been out.
What have we been prepared, folks?
Mclain question of the
week. Don't worry about
it. No, I don't have a question of the week. I don't have a top 10. We're just going to talk basketball. We'll be right back.
Fans, just so you know, Andrew Jones is going to be moved up to 130.
Whose is this?
From 2 o'clock to 1:30.
It's yours.
He was scared, you remember? For Andrew Jones, please report to the photo booth at this time.
Where you want me to sign this at? Man, you gonna give me one? You got another one from me?
I got it over there.
All right, we are back. We're talking basketball. We got Mr. Cliff joining us. Where we start? Are we going to start with the Lakers and the mini losing streak that we're on? And
shut up.
There is no shutting up. We're going to have to call out the Lakers right now, goddammit. They losing. And what the hell is the problem?
Let us know.
I mean, let's talk to the GM.
I'm not the GM of the Lakers. Hang on. Let me,
I'll tell you what's wrong with the Wizards, but everybody knows they suck and blow. So, and they made a trade with the Pistons that.
All right. So the Lakers' problems.
Yes.
I think for the Lakers, one is health, and two, health is the big thing for them because you've got AD, LeBron healthy, but when, let's just say, for example, Rui Hachimura goes down, it makes it hard because Darvin Ham is trying to find out lineups for who he's going to put in which situation. Then you lose D'Angelo Russell, who's going to fill that, and then you got to fill that spot. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of interchanging parts with them. And I think it's the other big thing is the mindset because they have consistently beaten the Thunder. Like we're taping this on Tuesday. They beat the Thunder last night. They have consistently beaten the Thunder all year. They beat teams that they beat top teams like the Clippers and the Thunder, and they lose teams that they're not supposed to lose to.
Right.
And it's a mindset of playing down to your opponents because when they bring the intensity on the defensive end, especially, there's not a lot of people that they cannot compete with. So that's the two big things are health and then mentality. Because if you look at a lot of the top teams, there's a stat that's called games lost due to starters' health or something like that. Like, if you look at the top teams in the East and the West, the Boston Celtics are number one on the list in least amount of games lost.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier when you have all your pieces consistently game after game after game because you can figure out who's going to do what.
Right.
And also, and this is just a byproduct of having a LeBron-led team, you have every year you've got new pieces all the time. So when you bring in a new piece and then their new piece is injured all the time or this guy's injured, then that guy's injured, it's really, really hard. But you look at it in terms of what happens every single year to a LeBron team. They get a new piece, but they figure it out by like game 60. Right. And they're hot for the last 20 games, and then they go into the playoffs with a fury. Mm-hmm. You look at them last year, they made it to the Western Conference Finals with an injured LeBron.
Right.
What's going to happen this year? Like, I know if I'm Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder, I do not want to see that Laker team.
Right.
Nobody does, because a healthy LeBron and AD in the playoffs are scary.
Okay.
That's true.
So, but health and mentality are two big things with them. And they've been up and down. But with the play-in now, if you can stay in the fight and get in the playoffs, I'm not worried about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, you look at, for example, the Golden State Warriors.
I was about to bring them up, too.
The Lakers only have 2 more wins than the Warriors. But the Warriors are, and you can sit there and go, well, how can you say that? They only have 2 more wins. Because if you watch the Warriors and you watch the Lakers and if you watch basketball, don't sit there and comment and talk, well, Steph Curry, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit. Watch basketball before you speak to me. So, if you watch the Warriors, they're shit. They're terrible. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to say it, but they're not a good basketball team. Even if they get in, nobody's scared of the Warriors.
Right.
I mean, yes, they got Draymond Green back. His suspension was not nearly long enough, but that's beside the point. But there are certain teams, even though they're only separated by 2 wins, well, 3 wins now because the Lakers won last night. 3 wins. But they're totally different. If they were to face off in the playoffs, the Warriors would get killed. Mm-hmm. Like, I would say 4-1 or 4-0. They're just not a good basketball team. So, that's...
What type of changes would you make with them? Is Kerr...
Kerr's overrated as shit.
Anyway. Is it past his expiration date?
That guy has been overrated since the day he got hired.
He just got a good team.
Oh, no, you were handed a team that Mark Jackson built.
Yep.
Nobody wants to admit it, but
Steve Kerr was some
talk
about that.
Give rap the team that Mark Jackson built in every way.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there needs to be changes outside of. It's not Kerr. I mean, they're still well coached. I respect Kerr. I don't think he's that good, but I don't think he's terrible.
Yeah, he'll be better, but
they need.
Is Kerr making less than Detroit's head coach? Because he got a pretty big ass contract over there.
I don't know.
Because I was looking at the top 3 as in terms of pay. And I think, who is it? Is it Monty Williams or somebody?
It is Monty. He's
Monty.
I think he's like the 3rd or the 2nd highest paid coach.
And then there's Spo.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
right. Because Spoelstra, that's a funny story.
Yeah, that's a great story.
They waited till his divorce was final before they extended his contract because he got like what 143 million.
$120 million for 8 years. By the way,
God
credit
bless.
Coach Spo. We love you, respect you. One of the best coaches in the NBA, right behind Pop. Every cent was deserved for that man from the ground up. Phenomenal job. Great coach.
And I give the Heat organization credit for holding out until that divorce was final to give that man that contract. So that witch would have taken any of that money from him. I don't know if you still love your ex or not, but hell. Anything to keep your money and make you happy. And
Eric, if you still love Nikki Sapp, we do apologize.
Yeah.
We do. But Pat Riley, if you don't want to have Pat Riley, clearly you also good on Pat Riley for not unveiling the statue, but unveiling the statement of that Dwayne Wade is going to have a statue there in Biscayne Boulevard to commemorate and memorialize Dwayne Wade and everything he's meant to the franchise and the city of Miami. Mm-hmm. So a lot of great things happening down there in Miami.
Yeah.
And the rumor mill, I mean, we dive into that sometime. You know, they're looking at Bronny James, LeBron Jr.
Oh, I heard about that.
And possibly LeBron coming back to Miami to be with his son there. So I was reading about that on several news sources. Hey, there's people out there that quote certain news sources. Y'all not the only ones. I read them too. CBS Sports, Yahoo Sports mentioned this possibility of LeBron Jr., Bronny James coming out and Miami somehow making a deal to get that pick, to get Bronny there, and LeBron, I don't know what his contract situation is.
He's a free agent after this year. He did last season.
So that makes perfect sense.
Last summer, LeBron signed a 2-year, $97 million contract extension, so he could be a free agent in the summer of 2024.
So that makes perfect sense.
He did that exclusively so he could play with his son, LeBron James Jr.
All right, so if they have a draft pick and in that top 3, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to make that happen. And you'll see the James gang over in Miami.
Back in South Beach.
And
look, I'm going to tell you right now. Hang on, let me eat my M&M's. I apologize. Go ahead, sorry.
And just to make a slight point, 2 of those teams they probably will negotiate with will be Detroit, who has the 3rd highest paid coach. I can't believe that record that they have, and they paying this guy all of this money. And and Washington. And Detroit and Washington actually made a trade a couple of days ago.
Marvin Bagley 3, legend, gold status.
It was a money trade, folks, because Pistons are cash strapped. They're trying to set up bigger things in the offseason.
Pre-K.
So it'll be interesting to see which one of those 2 teams is going to make that deal with Miami, because LeBron ain't coming to y'all Washington. LeBron is not coming to y'all Detroit. I don't care what y'all salivated over.
You ain't getting it.
You ain't getting them.
It ain't happening.
So it's one of possibly 3 teams that would be in the mix for LeBron. I would say Miami,
the Lakers,
and
Cleveland.
Obviously,
yeah. I mean, Pat Riley has been in Bron's bag since the day he signed him.
Right.
I'm going to share a couple. Can I share 2 stories?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's what we opened up the floor for.
I'm going to share. I may get this, but okay. So, and this just tells you everything you need to know about Pat Riley and the way he works his business. So, before Chris Bosh signed with Miami in 2010, he went down for his free agent meeting, and Chris Bosh told this story at his Hall of Fame introduction. And Pat Riley threw about his 10 to 15 rings on a table. On a table.
I can see him doing that.
Chucking on a table. And he picked one up and he goes, he handed it to, and he looked at Chris Bosh and he said, "You give this back to me when we win one together." And he gave him the ring.
Wow.
And he obviously signed in Miami. They won 2 rings together. And then at the Hall of Fame introduction ceremony, he bought Pat up, and he gave that ring back to him. By the way, Chris Bosh, one of the greatest storytellers, well-spoken man. Go watch that introduction ceremony if you want. Anyway, the other story, and you probably already heard it, there have always been rumors, LeBron go back to Miami, whatever, 2 or 3 years now.
Right.
And he's always said, Pat Riley has openly said, he'll always leave a key under the mat for LeBron James to come back. And he'll be 40 next year. But when you're playing at a level that he's playing at, it's hard not to bring. And when you can do it without trading away your pieces, it'd be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be spending a lot of time in South Beach, taking a lot of vacation days to watch LeBron. Because I've probably seen LeBron 30 to 40 times in my life. I've seen him in Orlando. I've seen him back when I used to live in Wisconsin, I saw him in Milwaukee. But I never saw him play in Cleveland, when he was with the Cavs. I never saw him play in Miami when he was with the Heat. I still haven't seen him play in Los Angeles when he's played for the Lakers.
Wow.
Because it's not so easy as, let's go watch LeBron tonight. You get in your car and you got to take like 3 days to fly to LA.
Right.
If he's in, and I was obviously, I wasn't quite old enough when LeBron left Miami the first time. I was like 13 or 14. I didn't have a car, when I was a kid.
Right.
He goes back to Miami. If I say, I want to go to, watch LeBron, it's 4 hours. It's not close, but it's not super far. I can get in the car and drive down there and watch LeBron.
Right.
And I've always wanted to see him, and not, when he's in his Vince Carter stage where he's a role player.
Right.
I always want to see LeBron, be LeBron as we know him. And he's still LeBron as we know him. I wanted to see that in his home arena. So hopefully... Anyway, if he doesn't come to Miami, I'm coming for you, LeBron, in LA. It's going to happen. I'm rambling. But
before we let Cliff have a few words here, can you just imagine, let me just put this out here, just go into your, crystal ball and take a look at the James game together in Miami or whatever team they play. Can you imagine how Showtime will look out there with those two? The father and the son, and some of those fast breaks they will run and all of those plays that they would do.
I'm about to have about 12 Heat jerseys if you both sign with it.
I'm telling you, that will be a sight to see.
Oh, yeah. Just think all the shit they drew up in the driveway.
So, Mr. Cliff, what do you think about the possibility of the James game coming to
Is that the angle you want to take? You want to talk about something else? Maybe
let me just add on to this real quick.
Go for it.
For me, as a Heat player, and wanting to see that, like you said before, I want to see him in the Heat jersey because at the time when he played, I was like, 9, probably 8. Like, there's no way I was gonna get there. Especially living in Ocala 4 hours. Like, they're not gonna go.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah, exactly. The traffic and everything. Would I want that? 110%, without a doubt. I don't even care about his son. Just the fact that I just want to see LeBron in that jersey.
You say you don't care about his son?
I don't care.
You sick, you demented asshole.
You want me to be
Cancel
honest?
this man. Cancel this man.
Anyways, that's all I want to see. But what would be just like the cherry on top would be Cleveland taking it.
To hell with that.
Just because who would not want to see LeBron end his career in Cleveland? Like, come on.
I'm in Cleveland. Y'all ever been to Cleveland?
You been to Cleveland?
I've been to Cleveland, yes. I was there when LaDainian Tomlinson was in his peak, and Chargers when they were in San Diego, thank you.
That I keep messing up all the time, but go ahead.
I went there, LeBron, I love you. You're not in the room because you're in the other room. That's Cole. What's up, Cole? Do not ever. Don't go back to Cleveland because Cleveland sucks.
Well, he already did his obligation there.
Cleveland sucks. Don't go back there. Come to Miami to see the bitches because we know you be getting.
Here's the thing.
Even though you're a faithful, loving father to Savannah and all that, we get that. We respect you for that. But
look, we already
you gotta come see them cheeks.
We already know what happened when he left Cleveland the first time.
This is for you!
And it was like he did that infomercial or whatever the hell it was.
I remember that.
People still try to have haterade with him over. Yeah, it was bad how he did it, but, what are you going to say about it? What was worse? What was worse, him leaving the way he left Cleveland or Durant leaving Oklahoma the way he left?
Which might I add, him leaving the way he left Cleveland. I know the whole hour-long thing with Jim Gray and the way he did it, went and said, take my talents to South Beach, is probably not the best way to go about it. But what most of you don't realize is he did that to raise money for Boys and Girls Club of America. He did that to raise money for children. Mm-hmm. That was a charity event. So before you hate, if you hate the kids, you hate that. If you love the kids, you love that.
And look, let's be honest with you. Let's take your fandom out of free agency. You work a job and somebody offers you a better job, a better situation. Guess what?
Take that.
You're going to walk. Mm-hmm. You're going to take it.
You are going to take it. Who the hell wants to freeze their nuts off in Cleveland when they can come do some of this with DJ Khaled in Miami?
And then on top of that, you think about it. You at your job now. You think the people suck around you? You can't stand your boss. You can't stand your pay.
You hate Dan Gilbert?
I mean, it's like, it's no different for the players out there.
They are 80. And as much as people don't want to admit this, it is a business.
Yep.
The NBA is, yes,
all business. Those
players want to win, and it's entertainment and whatever, and Stephen A. and Fatlock and whatever, and Colin Coward, who's also an idiot. Don't listen to anything that man is spewing. Stephen A., we do respect you.
Now, I'm going to get into that in a little bit. That guy right there, Kobe, he tried to leave the Lakers to go to Chicago.
In 2007.
And before y'all break up, Michael Jordan stayed in Chicago.
He retired.
Not only did he retire, he wanted to go to the Knicks.
So the bottom line is, as much as nobody wants to admit it, it is a business. And once you take out the fandom, like you said, and the free agency and however the media wants to hype it up, it's a guy thinking, there is a lot to go into it, because it's, how much are they going to pay me? You know, where, for example, when LeBron was 25 years old, he didn't have the support he needed from the ownership, and his teammates were not that good. But also, another big thing, and it goes back to real life too, your kids. Yeah. You want to uproot your kids and move them to a different school. They've got their friends, they've got your family's around there. That's hard. And people forget that we put these people sit here with all the money they make because people like us talk about it. People like you and everybody, all the fans buy the jerseys and read the magazines and play the video games and whatever. They make all this money. They are human beings. People, I think, lose sight of that.
That's right.
They're people. They might be, yes, they're really good at playing basketball, but they're good at putting a ball in a hoop. Like, nobody watches me when I go fishing on my kayak. But people will pay the guy who can catch 10-pound bass with every third cast.
That's
because
right.
He's really good at what he does. If they just happen to be gifted in something that makes a lot of money. But when it comes down to it, it's still a profession and a job, and there's still people who have lives. They deal with loss. They deal with sickness and health and all that stuff. People lose sight of that. Yeah, it's not just, LeBron going to Los Angeles. It's, okay, LeBron needs to go to Los Angeles, but why did he go to Los Angeles?
Here's two funny stories about free agency and players going to certain teams. I'm going to go way back to 1981-82 in football. John Riggins had actually retired from the Washington Redskins. He was out, I want to say, the 80-81 season. And he decided to come back. He was about 32, 33, which is old for a running back. And it was especially old for a running back then. So he comes back. Basically, Joe Gibbs, sent the filler out to him. Hey, you want to come back and so forth. We know we wasn't using you right, blah, 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 because they wanted him to block instead of carry the ball, which is asinine if you think about it. The way he runs the ball, he was almost like a white Jim Brown. You know what I'm saying?
As racist as hell.
Absolutely. But that's what he said that he was comparing himself to. So Is it racist if the white guy says it? Talking about himself.
All right.
Anyway.
Good point.
Anyway, so to finish my story without no fucking interruptions this time, when Riggins came back, he basically told Joe Gibbs that he was bored, he was broke, and he wanted to play, and he had a beer in his hand when he told him that. And they was like, okay, go to training camp and whatever.
I love that story. But I got a beer in my... Sorry.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's how he was. Like, you know, I don't know if you know this old Supreme Court justice named Sandra Day O'Connor. You probably heard her in your history class and all of this other stuff.
Oh,
anyhow.
Hold on. You're making the assumption that I paid attention in history.
Exactly.
I'm a manager at Walmart. How do you think I ended up there?
Don't you have a college degree?
It's because I didn't pay attention in history class. If we weren't talking about LeBron and his extremities, I didn't want to hear about it.
So anyway, to finish that story, they was at this dinner gala, and John Riggins was sitting at the table with Sandra Day O'Connor, and basically she was, you know, being professional, whatever, at this dinner gala, and he tells Sandra, loosen up, baby, you know, we're at a dinner. If you ever met Riggins live or whatever, he is one of the funniest guys. I mean, he's laid back. He's a realist. You know, he's just one of those guys that you would love to literally have a beer with. And he did not care about what people thought about him, you know, and he was willing to have fun and so forth. That is what we're talking about when you're talking about free agency and so forth, because it's like they live normal lives like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And the second story that I wanted to bring up involves this man and Allen Iverson. They were in an interview, you know, I think Allen was interviewing Kobe or Kobe was interviewing Allen, one or the other. And they was talking about pumping gas at a gas station. So Kobe was at a gas station and he gets out, he's putting his credit card in the damn pump and everything. And somebody was like, oh, you pump your own gas? And he was like, well, how the hell am I supposed to drive a car without gas? Because people have this glorified view of athletes and, like, you know, actors and people on higher levels like they don't do normal stuff.
Like, for example, LeBron James may drive a $400,000 car, but guess what? He's still got to sit in LA traffic just like everybody else to get to his game, to get to his job that night.
And you speaking of that, unfortunately, that's how he got killed because he didn't want to sit in that LA traffic.
He took a chopper. You got to think about it. People think about only the one time that where it was obviously tragic, and people only think about that. This man was flown around in that chopper his entire career. For 20 years, he flew in that chopper to avoid Los Angeles traffic because he lived in Newport Beach, which is about 45 minutes from Staples.
Mm-hmm.
So he took that. People don't want to think of it like, oh, this is a one-off thing. No, he flew in that thing every day for 20 years.
Yeah.
So.
And, I mean, not to bring it up, even though I did, I'll tell you a story of how I heard about when he actually got killed in it. Now, remember the night, wasn't a night or a couple of nights before LeBron had broken one of his records or whatever?
It was the night before against the Philadelphia 76ers at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, PA.
So what happened was...
January 25th, 2020. I remember it. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I'll tell my story.
So here's my story about it. It was like I was doing Uber that day. And basically, I had the text group with some of my Virginia buddies or whatever. They were sending me saying, R.I.P. Kobe. And I'm like, all right. LeBron just beat his record. He didn't kill the guy. You know what I'm saying? Because, I ain't put two and two together or whatever. And then other people started saying R.I.P. Kobe. I was like, all right, what the fuck is going on here? Why is everybody saying that? Is that some sort of meme or a hashtag or whatever that they doing or whatever? Mm-hmm. So I'm picking up this girl at one of the Disney hotels, and she's coming to my van, and she's crying. And I was like, are you like okay? I mean, I'm thinking she might have broke up with somebody or whatever. Kobe Bryant died. I was like, what? I was like, died from what? You know, what, a car accident or something? And then, you know, because that's what you're going to think about with somebody that young or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, you know, I heard about the helicopter crash and, you know, because I turned on the radio at this point. And I remember when I got home, you know, you kind of like feeling like, damn, that's messed up or whatever. He's so young or whatever. And then when they showed that picture of him and his daughter together, I lost it. I was like, that is fucking foul, you know.
And what's so hard about it is the fact that people talk about it, but because it seems impossible, because they're put on this pedestal by media and people, he's just another human being.
Yeah, he is.
And that was a hard day. Because I remember it was January 26, 2020. I had all my boys over for the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all sitting in the basement watching the Royal Rumble. And we all got the news. It was like 9 of us sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And the room went quiet. Nobody said a word for like 10 minutes.
Unbelievable.
And you just think, and then Mike Breen, great commentator, had to go out and commentate that day. And you could hear the pain in his voice. That he didn't want to be there.
Right.
He didn't feel like, he told a story. He said, I don't feel like playing ball today, but I don't feel like commentating today. You could hear it in his voice.
Absolutely. Where were you?
Yeah, fool.
Me? Oh, I was at work.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at it. As soon as I clocked out and I went on my phone, all you saw was just flooded with just RIP. And then that's when I actually looked on it and looked at it and I was like, damn.
And you felt like you knew, at least for me, I grew up a huge Laker fan.
Yeah.
I would sit in my bedroom upstairs and I'd watch, they were always on ESPN. I'd stay up and I'd watch the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the best player on the Lakers. He'd make you believe.
Right.
And I have all those memories. And I've never been to LA, but seeing the overhead shots of LA, watching ESPN and see him talk about this and see him talk about that, then you watch this, you watch that. You feel like you know the city and like you've been there.
Right.
But you haven't been there. At least I haven't. And you think it's like this fantasy land, but when you realize, like, when I do eventually visit, that it's a real place and that it's an awful place. There's smog, there's traffic, there's crime. It's horrible.
Exactly.
But in your head, it's always this fantasy land.
Mm-hmm.
And Kobe made you feel part of that fantasy land.
Right.
Just this world where magical things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to think that something like that was possible, it hit home.
It made you internalize your own life at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm telling you, I could not take it. I mean, I'm a father. I have kids. I mean, I lost a son before, and my son was named after me. But it was just something when I saw his daughter up there. Now I'm getting emotional over it.
Mm-hmm.
But it got me. I mean, we're talking about what? How many years has that been? Like 4 or 5 years?
It's been 4 years, 2020.
I mean,
and of course, it feels so far away.
I'm sorry, y'all. I mean, but just thinking about that, and I should have never brought that up. But it's like
now you're me.
I mean, because it was hard, man.
It was very hard. And then, of course, right after that, less than a month later, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And everybody started losing people left and right because of that.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd see these empty arenas and empty places. We'd never come back.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back. And it's just...
And this world is fucking chaos because of that.
And it feels so... And this man... It goes back to the magical, mystical world that he made you believe in, where you didn't have to deal with the problems, when all you had to do was watch Laker basketball.
Yeah.
And when it felt like when he passed, that all the stuff that like the world he was protecting, all he did was he was just a basketball player. But he was protecting all this, and all these awful things happened after he left. You just thought it because he had stopped protecting the world. And it feels like it's so long ago, but it really wasn't that long ago.
I know. I completely forgot that was the same year of COVID.
It's crazy. But enough of the enough of the sadness.
Yeah.
Back into the
It's
contemporary.
like a soap opera, yo. I mean,
We apologize. Back into the contemporary. Nuggets are still the Nuggets have been up and down. Celtics are still hot. Bucks are still hot. Great, Damian Lillard. Kings have been playing good basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder, minus their loss to the Lakers, our top ball club.
Yeah.
Celtics, Timberwolves still. The Magic are Magic are for real though.
They are.
Even they've cooled off a little bit, but you got to think about it. They haven't had Marco Fultz, they haven't had Wendell Carter Jr. Franz Wagner's been out for like the last 6 games. Paolo Banchero, if that man doesn't go to the All-Star game, I am rioting. I will find you, Adam Silver, and your dwarf-looking ears for being a piece of shit. But the East is jam-packed, and the Magic are right there. They are, and if they get in, they're going to be like a 6 or 7 seed, but I would think they're good enough to be a top 4 team in that conference. So we are Mavericks are proving like last year when they traded for Irving, it looked bad.
Yeah, now
it looked really bad. But now Irving and Doncic together is really starting to pay the dividends and starting to see why that trade makes sense.
Right.
So the Mavericks are good damn ball. Clippers, much as I hate James Harden, have turned it around. Have really turned it around. 9 of their last 10, minus the loss to my Lakers. But really turned around, and that trade's making sense too. So we just hit the halfway point yesterday, actually. Well, not everybody, every team has hit it, but the Lakers have it 20-21, 41 games in.
Right.
We're sitting here at the halfway point. The teams that we thought were going to be really good are really good. There are some teams that we thought that were going to be decent, but have surprised. For example, Orlando, New York, New Orleans has impressed.
New York. Yeah.
The Knicks, Then there are teams that have really been
good defense,
shitty, that we thought would be better. I think we all thought Phoenix would be better.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all thought Golden State would be better.
But see, you're starting to see some trades happen now.
Yeah, the deadline's coming up here in a couple weeks. The All-Star game is creeping up, too, because it always keeps you in perspective. The NBA All-Star game is always, 2 weeks after the NHL All-Star game? The NHL All-Star game is the weekend before the Super Bowl.
They try not to compete with each other, but...
Which makes sense, but the hockey season starts 2 weeks before the NBA. So that's kind of where we're at. I think Phoenix is going to figure it out, though. They have a lot of their pieces out. Golden State is the one where I don't think there's any hope.
Yeah,
there's nothing that we can do for it. No.
Yeah, that's going to be an off-season thing where they're just going to have to mix up.
Rebuild and blow it up. Yeah.
You think so? Everyone's gone except for Curry, or what they're going to
Curry and Clay.
I mean,
Curry and Clay.
They had a couple of articles saying that everybody but Curry is.
That's what I'm saying.
The Spurs went banana. Everybody wants to talk about how great he's been.
He's 7.
He's cool. He's 7'4", but they're terrible.
Terrible.
They're dog shit.
They're talking about trade coming there too.
Nobody wants to talk about.
But that's right.
They've been masking. The media has been masking the fact that Wembanyama's had a great year, but they're awful. They're 5-38 or something. They've got 2 more wins than the Pistons. They're just not good.
No.
So, but it's hard when. I don't know, but that's where we're at heading into the middle of the year. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I mean that's pretty much you're going to get into this stretch where you're going to start figuring out what these teams really are.
Yeah.
And then after the trade
deadline, that'll be a big show.
That'll be where they start solidifying who they really are and what they're going after.
So, and who needs to make moves and who doesn't need to make moves. Who are the buyers and who are the sellers. And you're really starting to see that shape here. So we're heading into divisional round. Enjoy the games. We will be back next week to recap the divisional and preview the championship round. And then our next big show I would think coming up is probably it's 2 or 3 weeks away, but right after the All-Star right after the All-Star break and then the trade deadline, as we start to see the big deals get done right after the deadline, we'll have a big show then. So enjoy the games and we'll see you week and a half, whenever. We'll get there. But if we get reported, then you won't see this. You'll see it for a little bit until YouTube takes it down. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
I think this show was too good for it to be taken down.
It's a little long. We apologize. We try to keep it between,
you haven't seen us in a while, so
35 and 45 minutes, between 30 and 45 minutes on a good week. So that's what we're going to try to get back to next week. But anyway, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Until next time, folks.